The big question here on Morning Kickaround, it is Friday, July 25th. I'm Robert. That's Jenny in for Jason here today. For this final segment of the week, I kind of wanted to break down an article that was somewhat buried on The Athletic, but I think it's encouraging at least. There is an article from Ashley Pellet on The Athletic about the new FIFPro chief, Sergio Marchi. Will he be able to provide balance to Infantino's FIFA leadership? For context, FIFPro is essentially the International Soccer Players Union, and Marchi is the first non-European chief of this organization, which was launched back in 1965. So just that is a notable fact. But he has started his reign by stating that this is a quote from him: "The biggest obstacle to FIFPro today is the autocracy of the FIFA president." He says that when the big shows that Infantino likes and the ends and the lights go down, that's when the real world begins. When in the spectacle of the tournaments like the World Cup and the Club World Cup mask a harsher truth in the game. Do you think that, this is an encouraging start? And we could even talk about the FIFPro in general, where it's at, but is that encouraging that there is someone in the leadership position, pushing back to Infantino, because there's not a lot out of there?
I think it's absolutely what the players need, because over the past few years, schedule congestion is kind of the main driver of grievances from the players' ranks, I imagine. They've been making enough money. They've been getting their benefits and all that. And relative to American sports, the global soccer system is very player-friendly until you get to schedule congestion. That's where FIFA, the players, kind of need to strike a little more of a balance. And it's where that autonomy that Gianni Infantino is expressing is really coming from, where it's like there is nobody meaningfully pushing back. There's a lot of words being spread around from the players' side and mostly, honestly, from the fans' side. And I'm hoping that a new kind of motivated leader of the players' union can kind of step up and push back against really the ultimate greed of Gianni Infantino and his cohorts of just wanting more money. That's really the only benefit behind this. Nobody, other than financially speaking, nobody has asked for a Club World Cup. Nobody has asked for a more expanded World Cup. Nobody's asking for any of this stuff. And I think it's about time that the players, who are probably really the only meaningful agent capable of pushing back, I think it's about time that they step up and do something about it. And I'm hoping that a new non-European kind of anti-establishment FIFPro chief is able to actually get this job done.
Yeah, he's got some great quotes in this article. These events weren't created by Infantino. They exist because of the players and the fans. He's not a owner of football. He's just a manager. And he also goes on to say that FIFA has systematically ignored the fundamental rights of the people who make the game possible, the players. The story goes on. He was scathing about FIFA's decision to stage the Club World Cup 100-degree weather in the United States. Quote again, "It's perverse to schedule matches at noon in heat, that kind of heat. What are they waiting for? A tragedy? A collapse on the field? It's not just planning, it's disrespectful." And I thought this was an interesting one. He was talking about not being interested in self-preservation and trying to speak truth to power. And here is an example of that is Enzo Fernandez criticized conditions after the game, but most of the time players are afraid to speak up because this could hurt their careers, but it's up to people like me, representatives, to speak for them, and I will. No shade to his predecessors, but I don't recall FIFPro really pushing back against leadership like this. And, I claim ignorance if that's happened in the past, but it's encouraging that someone is talking about self-sacrifice, speaking truth to power, to benefit others and not just career preservation, which across the board in the world we need more of, but it's encouraging because we are soccer lovers that it's happening here too.
Yeah, and I think part of the problem too is just kind of the sheer size of FIFPro. I mean, FIFPro represents soccer players globally. It's not like the MLS Players Union where it's only representing the MLS players. It's a lot easier to kind of get a message across and get a majority of the players on board with a various movement or something. And we've seen it in MLS where they've threatened to strike. I don't know if FIFA, I don't know if they have the courage to do some sort of global strike where it's like, okay, we're going to stop playing these soccer games unless we start getting a little bit of reform around here. And that's where the career preservation thing kind of comes in, is these players are just, they want to play soccer. That's what they want to do. And they don't want anything to get in the way of that. And we need a little more courage in the ranks of the union if they want to step up and actually make meaningful change and make their careers ultimately better, even if it means they need to sit out a few games and sacrifice some paychecks.
Yeah, and also interesting about the quotes here from the new FIFPro chief is that I'm having a hard time finding it here, but he's an Argentine, has served in a similar role in Argentina for 28 years, and he grew up in Argentina in the 70s, and he said he saw friends of Spoke Out disappear and various things like that, and he's saying that he's not willing to do that in this sort of instance, like basically speaking more to the point of like willing to speak truth to power and not as interested in his own self-preservation. And he's also talking about players not in the spotlight, lower down in the divisions. Quote from Marchi again: more than half of professional players aren't currently being paid their wages. Thousands of players are locked into contracts that are being violated. Many face abuse, physical, psychological, and financial, that spills over into their family lives. While FIFA boasts 2.5 million tickets have been sold for the Club World Cup, the distribution has not been democratic. We're in the 21st century and thousands of players go unpaid. Meanwhile, FIFA celebrates record ticket sales. Let them have their party, but the people who built the game should be paid too. Football is deeply inequitable, unjust. We're in a profession that ends at 35 with a whole life still ahead. So not pulling any punches there. And I got to say, getting a little tingly, refreshing to hear something outside of the party line when it comes to FIFA.
Yeah, and I love that quote because most soccer fans, I think we're a little bit kind of in the minority here where we do kind of look at that lower league thing, but most soccer fans won't look at anything past the top tier leagues, whether that's the top tier in their specific country or the big 5 European leagues or what have you. They don't look at the fact that the majority of professional soccer players do not play in a big league. And it's the overwhelming majority of soccer players don't. And when you focus too much on what's going on at the top level, you ignore the rank and file, the masses, the proletariat of the soccer player arena here. And I like that this new guy, he's speaking up for the little guy, speaking up for the masses, trying to get everybody on better footing and not just those that play for the Manchester Uniteds, the Real Madrids, and even going to the Southamptons, the Newcastle Uniteds, the still top tier but less high profile clubs.
But yeah, at those levels, that's the minority. Those are the, people are getting paid, people are getting taken care of and all that. And that's just not the case in so many places across the world.
But the French third tier, whatever the lowest tiers of professional soccer, the Croatian third division or what have you, that's where these problems exist. And that's probably where they need the most fight.
And also, to be fair, Major League Soccer has helped Central and South Americans in that regard, because a lot of the players, like, while the wage on paper doesn't, blow your hair back, they know that they're going to get paid.
Right.
Where that's not necessarily
the case if they're playing in the Honduran Premier League or whatever the top league is called down there, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess there's counterpoints everywhere, but Sergio Marchi, the new leader of FIFPro, got some good quotes there. Before we wrap up, I'm going to kind of throw you on the spot here, Jenny.
Okay.
I seen this how you're wearing that shirt. There was big news from Detroit City FC, former coach and longtime sporting director or general manager of Detroit City FC, departs immediately midweek by surprise. What is your thoughts and where do they go?
I think it essentially means Trevor James was a much better coach than he was an executive, a roster builder, and everything. Because there's been a shoestring budget in Detroit City ever since they turned pro. They've had to do they've done the best they can with how little resources they have, and I think Trevor James as the coach was kind of the magic dust that made that whole thing work. And all due respect to Danny Dicchio, but you see this year when they lose some of their top talent, Maxi Rodriguez left, they're missing something. And Trevor James, as sporting director GM, wasn't entirely able to bring all that in. And as Mike Thomas says, spooked by the dead body. Nicholas Murray, I love Trevor James. I love Trevor James, the coach, too, but it feels underwhelming his tenure as GM.
Yeah, I was going to say, I haven't really gotten any answers back. I sent a couple questions when I first saw the news to a couple of people that I know that are somewhat, attached to the team. And I asked, was it burnout? Was it a power struggle between them and the coach? Was it he fed up with the budget? Because, I mean, if you don't have a budget, your scouting network can only go so far if, all the players that you have scouted are out of your financial grasp. Or was it just, or did the club itself say, hey, you haven't found us enough guys and you're not leading us into the future, you're gone. Like, there's so many different reasons for this to happen. I think it took a lot of people by surprise because he was effective immediately. You think that maybe they'd give him, one last game to tip the hat and get an ovation from the Northern Guard, because for those unfamiliar, Trevor James essentially was the guiding light to bring Detroit City FC from an NPSL amateur team to where they are as one of the top tier teams in the second division of American Pro Soccer, and all navigating obviously turning an amateur roster into a professional roster and then jumping through multiple leagues and through COVID. So he's got to be, is there a ring of honor or anything sort of like that for Detroit City yet? Do they have do they retire numbers and names and that?
Nothing formal. No, it's mostly just the kind of the pantheon of people that the fans herald as builders of the club legends, this sort of thing. But I imagine the new stadium will have some sort of monument to the past.
Yeah, and now that we're talking about it, wouldn't a Trevor James stand or something like that be like, he's deserved that for sure?
I would think so, because he was the guy who shepherded this club from amateur to pro. He led them honestly punching above their weight in a lot of ways in their USL championship tenure. He personally didn't win a playoff game. He did win the playoff game. He was one of his last games as head coach was that playoff win at Pittsburgh. So I wish there's a little more of a reason why, as Soccer Night in Detroit says, okay, why? Was this his idea? Was this the club's idea? Mutual consent? Was he just thrown out on the street? I don't know. We don't know. We have no way of knowing.
Just shooting from the hip, I just listed off 6 possible reasons why. So I guess there's not a lack of reasons why he would be let go, but it's just surprising to not have a curtain call.
And we'll probably get a little more answers. I believe there's an ownership meeting coming up in the first week of August that I'm sure they'll address that. Our biggest postseason upset in championship being the Hounds. Yeah, that I've mentioned that game a couple of times now, and so. I hope that once we get the next owners meeting in the beginning of August, we'll get a little more answers as to why he was let go, whether it's Trevor James or whether it was ownership that's initiating it or whatever the motivation was. We'll figure it out. But we'll see where Detroit City goes from here, and if they can hire someone new that can help push the team into kind of their next era of this new stadium and building a home of their own.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen the teams at the very top of the game, the Tottenhams and the Arsenals of the world, have a hard time bringing in players and whatnot while they were building their stadium. Obviously, Detroit on a whole different plane of budgeting and strata. But, maybe he quit because he wasn't going to get a signing that he wanted for the next 3 years. Or perhaps they wanted a coaching change, but they wanted to change the sporting director before they changed the coach. I mean, without any feedback to Soccer Night in Detroit's point, it's like without any kind of reasoning or justification given publicly, we're left with speculation.
Yeah.
So big soccer weekend ahead. Thank you for tuning in to us today ahead of that. Thank you, Jenny, for stepping in for Jason. The summer soccer crew continues. We'll see. I'm going to be on my big summer vacation. The summer soccer season is over, so I'm allowed to step away from home base for a while.
We let you out of your cage every now and then, yes.
Yes.
Do more than just call Oakland County FC games.
Yeah, so I'll see if I'm able to join via cell phone or something where I'm at next week. But Jason will be back, and you're getting some plaudits. Ryan says we need more Jenny on the show. So
thank you, Ryan.
Getting some kudos there for everyone tuning in. Not subscribed already? Hit the subscribe button. Join the 3,000 and growing. The movement, the town square is getting richer, and this conversation, the American soccer conversation we're having here, will only get better with you guys on board. If you want to take your support for the show up a notch, $3.99 a month is all it costs to become an MK Ultra. You'd become a channel member here on Morning Kickaround. You get early access to videos, you get bonus content, and you get priority commenting on screen during the live programs.
And access to our wonderful Discord server. That's my favorite. That's my favorite part, to be perfectly honest. I love hearing all the listeners when we're not on the show and what their thoughts are and all their fun ideas.
It really has been great to kind of extend the show, because on the weekends there's obviously a lot of games and action going on, and can wake up on Saturday morning and pick up the soccer conversation once again there on the Morning Kickaround Discord server. $3.99 a month. You get access to the Discord server and all the other things I just mentioned. If you want to write us a note, morningkickaround@gmail.com. We've got a lot of nice notes. We probably should dip into our ProRel manifestos.
Oh, yeah.
Again, we got a couple we haven't gotten to there yet. You can also follow along on social media at mkickaround, X, Instagram, and Blue Sky. And I think ko-fi.com/morningkickaround. For if you want to donate outside of the YouTube strata, there we got some specific fundraising goals, including a on-site appearance from Morning Kickaround, which would probably be totally awesome. We should make a list of 2026 events that could be in the crosshairs for an on-site broadcast, perhaps. But
there you go. Yeah,
a lot of stuff.
We'll always take suggestions on those.
Yeah, we'll take suggestions on those for sure. So thank you, Jenny, once again. Thank you, viewers. And until next time, everybody, enjoy your soccer.